What's up, guys? This is America's Ass, the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And right about now, I think it's about that time for us to discuss Avengers Endgame. Went to go check this out yesterday evening. It was the very first showing. It was ridiculous. I mean, people were just like hanging off the ceilings. It was crazy. The news vans were out there. And it was wild, man. It was a real, it felt like a major event. You know, the movie theater that I was in was packed, and everybody was buzzing, everybody was happy. I mean, it was really good. And I just want to say, Marvel Studios, bravo, bravo. For the last 10, 11 years, you guys have thrilled us, you've chilled us, damn near killed us, you know, with all of your stories and, you know, keeping the actors committed to these roles. It couldn't have been easy, you know, all these years to keep up the consistency of your storytelling and weaving this universe and this world. And when I was growing up, you know, reading these comics, I wondered what it would be like if there would ever be a day when I would be able to convincingly see these heroes brought to real life in the screen. And, you know, I never, ever in a million years thought that I would see this day. And Marvel Studios, you've made it happen within my lifetime. And I just want to say to you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart, you know, for providing everything that you've done, you know, over the last decade. What an achievement. What an achievement. There were highs and there were lows. There were mountains and there were valleys. But for the most part, you guys have pulled it off. Now, clearly this movie played out like you know, a tribute to what has come before. And it was almost like a bittersweet because it felt like a swan song, you know, especially in the end and everything. And I don't know what's going to happen from here, but I'm just going to consider everything that you've done as one complete body of work. And we'll see where it goes from here because I have like tons of questions after this movie and everything. But let me see. The pacing, I want to say that, you know, my overall feelings of this, I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free, but you know what? This is just real talk. So I think I'm going to put a spoiler alert in the title anyway. And, you know, it starts off where it needs to start off. Everybody is pretty much dealing with the consequences of their failure. You know, they're in a very, very dark place and, you know, everybody's feeling totally defeated because let's face it, they were. Thanos got what he set out to do. You know, he's wiped out half of everything and everybody and leaving people to pick up the pieces. Now, the thing that kind of struck me, you know, when I was just watching it at that point is that I have never seen humanity just be beaten. You know what I mean? Not defeated now, you know, but beaten as in we just let everything go. You know, it's like they showed city landscapes and, you know, services. I mean, everything has just been broken down. It's like you would think to some degree humanity does rebuild, you know, and a substantial amount of time, as it turns out, passes, you know, between Thanos wiping everything out, you know, in their initial re-engagement with Thanos to where the story actually plays out. It's like a span of 5 years. So 5 years, a lot can happen in 5 years. Humanity does tend to find a way. Life does go on. People are reborn. People are born, I should say. Heroes are born. And humanity does continue, you know, and when humanity continues for the sake of babies and, you know, things like that and our children, you want to give them a world to inherit, even though something terrible has happened. So to see that it seems like the world has just thrown up their hands and just said, that's it, we're done. Yeah, it kind of made me kind of be like, well, would that happen that way? You know what I mean? Would we just be squashed that way in spirit for years to come, forever, even though we have the ability to repopulate and stuff? See, this movie is good for me because it does cause me to ponder and to think about things like this. All right, but anyway, so there they are, and they've decided that they just can't let it go. I'm talking about the Avengers. You know, there has to be some way to do this. There has to be some way to fix this, you know, and Ant-Man shows up, you know, and Ant-Man shows up, and, you know, Ant-Man is like, you know, he's been in the quantum realm and stuff like that, and he's got theories, he's got, you know, ideas on how time could be relative or manipulated to be able to actually fix stuff, you know what I mean? In other words, he's on some share, you know, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, And then he says, I take back those stones that would hurt you, and they'd stay. So Captain America is like, oh, we might be able to do this, and Captain Marvel comes through, and thankfully Captain Marvel does not steal this show. And I was all ready to call her Brie Larceny, you know what I mean? But she doesn't, she's there. And I guess the Captain Marvel movie exists solely so that she can be there, because if she just appeared out of nowhere, everybody would be like, well, who the fuck, what? But now, at least, we have some type of backstory for her. And if you ask me, all the backstory we needed for her was what happened at the end credits of her movie, where she comes back and she's like, where's Fury? That was pretty much it, because the rest of the movie was who needed it, right? So anyway, so she comes back and she's down to help. And you know what I do appreciate about the Captain Marvel character, which sounds kind of crazy to say that, but what I do appreciate it is she's kind of portrayed in a way where she's bigger than what's going on Earth. You know what I mean? Like, the Avengers clearly are Earth's mightiest heroes, all right? For a reason. Captain Marvel makes it known that she has other responsibilities, other stories, other concerns, other loyalties. So she's not really there to be an Avenger. You know what I mean? She's there because she got this signal from Fury, so that brought her back. But she makes it known that, look, I've had other things to deal with here. You know what I mean? This is just one more thing that I have to deal with. So it's not like she's there to kind of, undermine, our Avengers. She's there to because she was called, basically. So she's not there to steal the show. So I can't call her Brie Larceny. Damn it, But that's good news, because the way that the story progresses, it stays very much loyal to the story that has come before. And this is the difference between having a plan and not having a plan. This is the reason why I didn't spend a whole lot of time going in on Brie Larson and all her foolishness. I've seen people like her before. All she needs to do is just grow up and get out and meet the fans. Go to a couple of Comic Cons and things like that. Understand you have male fans too, believe it or not. You have male fans, you have girl fans. And once you realize what you're a part of, I believe that Brie Larson could have the capacity to say, you know what, I'm kind of embarrassed the way that I was acting before. Not, maybe she won't say it publicly, but deep down inside, because I've met people like this before, when they're growing up and they're young and they're idealistic, and you give them a little bit of a platform and everything, and they're, they're all over the place. But after a while, when they start to realize that they're part of something, you know what I mean? Part of something that's bigger than them. They don't have the ability to control every working part and, you know what I mean, and use it as their platform. But hopefully that's my wish for her. So I didn't waste a whole lot of time with that, because unless she was going to do a Rey situation with the Star Wars saga, which I didn't see, then I wasn't really concerned with Brie Larson. It's like and now I see that I was right. It's like she didn't come in to completely disgrace what came before. All right, so the movie very wisely spends its time on the Avengers that we've come to know and the stories that they have weaved all throughout these last 10, 11 years. What people are saying is absolutely true. The fan service in here is almost pornographic. You know what I mean? It's like, you got the way they service the fans. It's like this movie put on makeup, dressed up for you, got down on its knees, and serviced you, swallowed, and smiled. That's the kind of fan service you get with this movie. If you've been there from the very beginning, from the very first Iron Man, you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's like, I think they brought back every single body who ever starred in any of these movies, and even if it was just the camera is panning and you just happen to see them, they're there. And actually, that's kind of a problem too, in a way, because it's good, but at the same time, you're almost like, don't wait, I saw that. Wait, what's going on there? You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you want to see or explore this character more, or hear more from them, or because there are characters in here who you haven't seen, and it's kind of it's cool, but when you deal with time travel, which is what this movie relies heavily on, that can be kind of iffy for some people. Like, I know for me, it kind of takes away from the dramatic happenings, that go on throughout the movie, because sometimes you'll see certain things happen. Like I heard people are getting very emotional with this movie. People are saying they cried and stuff. Now, there were times when I did get choked up. There were times when my mouth was hanging wide open. And then I'm like, but they're going to take that back though, right? It's like there's going to be some way to bring that person or people back, right? It's like that's not set in stone, right? Because now we've established that time can be manipulated and reweaved and woven and knit one and pearl two'd, you know what I mean? So it kind of took away from the dramatic oomph of certain situations because we're dealing with manipulating time, So in that way, some people I can see feeling that this is kind of anticlimactic, because I would say for sure that Infinity War was the superior of the two movies, only because it was just that damn dedicated to what it was doing. You know what I mean? Like the narrative just steamrolled over, and you could either get out of the way or you could get run over. And most of us got run the hell over, With this one, it was a lot more delicate. You know what I mean? There were a lot more delicate scenes that could be left open for this way or that way. Thanos was there, of course, and Thanos was, his take in this one was a lot different than the first one, because the first one happened in real time. This one was kind of like, it was just a little bit more complicated, and because of that, he was a lot more introspective. He was a lot more philosophical, believe it or not, because he saw certain things and he had to kind of put together what had happened before. Like, I don't want to say too much, but it was very, very interesting, but it was also very, very well done. Don't take anything I'm saying the wrong way. This movie was absolutely magnificent, and I had a ball watching it. I had just a great time, kind of like afterwards, kind of trying to put together certain things that I saw, and this is going to require more viewings for me. Not to understand it, but just to kind of do my little, yeah, but, and what ifs, but if that happened, then this happened. I mean, that to me is actually fun. So that's not a turn off for me. It's like I really do, if I had a problem with anything though, I did kind of have a problem with the way certain characters were represented, and some of you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't see that, but I don't have a problem with the way certain characters were represented. If I felt they were out of character, it's just because of my expectations of them. It's not because necessarily it went against how their character could have gone, like in a Luke Skywalker situation. It's like, it's just, you feel like these characters have such a life of their own, and they've done such a great job showing these characters having a life of their own. It's more of a, wow, I'm really surprised that you could go that way. I mean, you could have went that way, you could have went this way, but you went that way. Oh, okay, you know what I mean? But it's not offensive, you know what I mean? You just feel like you're watching a real character who has developed a certain way for a certain reason. I might not be cool with it, but you know what? I respect the character, and even more, I respect the storytellers, and they've done a great job of earning that respect. So I'm definitely rocking with it, guys. And let me see, what else can I say about this movie, man? It's like, go see it, Definitely go see it. If I had to rate this, now you guys know I have my system where it's flushes. All right, the flushes measure how full of shit a movie is. For example, if you get 0 flushes, it means there's no shit. If you get 4 flushes, it means that it's full of shit. It means to get the hell up out of here. All right, so I am going to give Avengers Endgame, I'm going to give it, I'm giving it 1 flush. All right, I'm giving it 1 flush, which is actually very good. Only because there was some shit in there that gets kind of complicated, you know what I mean? And I do have some concerns about the implications of a certain character's arc at the very end. All right, I'm not kind of sure that is actually sound, what happened there, you know what I mean? So, I'm sure we'll be talking about this for a long time to come. But as far as a companion piece for Avengers Infinity War, this was just great, man. This was, I really do applaud all of the actors. I thank you guys so much personally for what you did for my son who's watching this, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, all of them, all of them. You know, I just, like I said before, this is a great moment in history for everyone who grew up on comic books and comic book movies. And Marvel, you did the damn thing. You know, was it perfect? Was anything perfect? No, of course not. You know what I mean? The conversation about the greatest comic book movie of all time, that will be raging on forever. But what you did was you made your footprint in that debate where you have to be mentioned, you know, forever. So take your place in history, MCU and Marvel and the Avengers and everybody that's under that umbrella. Take it proudly, and I really do appreciate it, guys. That was my initial views, of course, on you know, Avengers Endgame. Of course, you guys can tell me what you think about it. Be careful though, because I know the spoilers are all over the place, but guys, the movie just opened. You know what I mean? So not everybody runs out to go see this. Hey there, kitty. Hey, you want to say hi? Hey, say hi. Meow, meow, meow. Don't scratch my eye out now. All right. You guys can get in the comment section. You can like, share, subscribe. You can find me on Twitter. I'll be there, and let me know how you feel about this. But like I was saying, guys, be careful with the spoilers. Not everybody runs out to see it on the first day. And let's enjoy this for everything it's worth, guys. It's all fun. But anyway, guys, I will catch you on the next one. That's it for now. I am the Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.